Good morning, everybody. We're very lucky, and I have a great pleasure to introduce Craig Tann from Huntington and Ellis.
Thank you, sir. Good
Thank you
morning,
for
everybody.
You know, we're very lucky to live in a town where everybody is so kind. What I mean by that is, all these brokers that I have interviewed, I know them a little bit, not a lot. And when I ask the brokers and all these people that I know to do an interview, they're like very excited to share their information and their knowledge to help people, and that's incredible. That's pretty awesome, don't you think?
Absolutely.
So I feel very blessed to live in a town where people care and willing to do this.
Oh, we appreciate you doing this for us.
Yeah, and I appreciate you doing this for me. Let's talk about how you got started in real estate. Exactly when did you start? Your age, and when did you build this passion for real estate?
Sure. So I started in the business when I was 19 years old. So I grew up Long Island, New York, and I had a good friend of mine.
Huh?
His dad actually owned a real estate brokerage, which at the time I didn't know. I actually didn't even understand the concept of real estate and sales and things like that. But I did notice all of the shopping centers had their name on it.
Okay.
So they own most of the shopping centers. So I started to, get curious about that.
Okay.
Had a couple conversations with my friend that had just gotten his real estate license, and he explained, what he's doing. Went and got my real estate license at 19, and he started to show me the ropes of real estate.
Okay.
And then came out to Vegas actually for my 21st birthday. Saw a ton of opportunity out here, packed up my stuff, and drove across the country. And
By yourself?
actually, I had a friend of mine that lived here.
Okay.
He flew out and drove with me back here. So just the two of us.
And when you got here in Las Vegas, did you do any other job, or you got into real estate right away?
Yeah, I got into real estate right away. So I had a 6-month wait on my real estate license. So that was a bit unexpected. But yeah, I just waited for my real estate license, and then as soon as I got it, I joined a team at Prudential, and then slowly became team manager, and then transitioned into independent agent, and eventually started a team.
So right away you joined a team, and
Yes.
from this team, this is where you learn all your skill.
Yes. Yeah, so the team setup made perfect sense for me. I didn't know anybody in town. I had one friend that lived here.
Right.
Didn't have access to clientele. Didn't really know what to
Right.
do to get business. So it was a great launch to the beginning of my career.
Awesome. You've been working for this company for 13 years, right? One of the largest company in town for 13 years. Why did you decide to go and build on your own brokerage?
For me, I think it was a natural progression. It was my next step. I did the team associate, team manager, independent agent, team,
Right.
and we were pretty much operating our own real estate brokerage underneath somebody else's umbrella, and we wanted to take our brand and our marketing to the next level, and it was the next step for us.
Right. You mentioned that you want to take the name Craig Tann away. What do you mean by that? Explain that.
Sure. So I think in our business, it's very I want to say egocentric in a sense. We all like your name. We all want to see your name in lights.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, when you even from a team standpoint, if I have a team and I have some great agents under me, the natural progression for them is that maybe 2-3 years they may not want the team set up, and they may want to go out on their own.
Right.
And when you're operating under somebody else's umbrella, their natural progression goes to that office, or they may go to another office. And I wanted to continue working with these great agents, this great talent that I'm helping them start their career. I want to be able to continue to work with them, and then one day down the road have something that's potentially sellable.
Sellable. So you're thinking about possibility of franchising your company or selling your company, something like that.
Yeah, one of the two.
Of the two.
That's down the road. It's not something that I'm thinking about right now, but that is a long-term goal. Absolutely.
I have a curiosity. How did you come up with this name? It's very unique. It's
Sure.
really cool.
Yeah, I get that a lot, and I get a lot of mixed. Everybody loves the name, loves the look of our company, and we get a lot of positive feedback. But the name, they're surprised that I didn't tie my name into it since I've been, in business for so long here.
Right.
But like I said, I want to pull my name out of it. So the Huntington is actually a small town near where I grew up, and then the Ellis comes from Ellis Island.
That's
and
awesome.
I just liked how it flowed and looked, and it just
Now
it
I
just
know how
fit.
you got that
Yeah,
name.
I feel like
That's
the
really
logo,
cool.
our office, everything just kind of fits who I am.
God, it's so cold sitting here. That's why I
know,
keep
my
drinking
hands are freezing.
I keep drinking my tea. It's really cold out here. Let's talk about the performance of your office first year. How did you do?
Okay, we had a great year. 2016 we closed 294 transactions, 81 million in closed residential sales. We launched the company in June, so a portion of that was at my previous brokerage, but a larger portion of it was at the new company.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We should have a trophy for you for that
Yeah, I'm
accomplishment.
good.
That's awesome. When we speak of Craig Tann, we have certain image of you already. Sharp dresser, laser focused. You know what you want. You're very basically you're a hardworking guy, right? And I would like to know is what do you do to maintain such great reputation in town?
I always bring it back to my motto that I've always had in the real estate business.
Okay.
I put my client first in the transaction. I put the other agent's client second in the transaction. And then third in the transaction is the other agent, the title representative, and the mortgage broker. And then I'm last. So when you have that motto of you're last, I think everyone starts to appreciate you a little bit more because you're willing to help a lot more. You're not putting yourself first. You're not combative in conversations. You're there to help everybody, and we all have the same end goal. And I think that's what has helped me build a fairly good reputation. Here in
Wow,
town.
I just learned something. Thank you. That's really awesome.
Thanks.
I never look at it that way, but I'm definitely gonna pay attention to that and follow that. That's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. If you can give credit to one person, or more than one, many people, to people who help you or influence you to where you're at today, help you to be successful, I'd like to know what is it about them that influence you and help you where you're at today.
Okay. Well, I think during my career, at different times of my career, I needed different things that helped me get to the next level. So I've had so many great people that have helped me take my business to the next level and kind of polished who I am today. Aldo Martinez at Prudential,
Yeah, the broker.
or Berkshire Hathaway, Gordon Miles, Mark Stark.
Yes.
I think they all brought different aspects of the business that helped.
They're great people. Yeah.
They're awesome. And then I also was in coaching. I do believe in coaching. I was with the Mike Ferry organization on and off for probably about 6 or 7 years. Had multiple coaches through there. And again, same thing. Every coach brought something else and helped me kind of push to the next level. And then I have a coach now who's totally outside of the real estate business and does strictly business coaching. His name's Jeff McGee. He's been a great help with where I'm at now in my career.
That's
and
awesome.
you know what? In a couple years, I may need something different.
So you always had some sort of mentor next to you or a coach next to you.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Cool. I'd like to ask you, what set you or your company apart from the rest?
I think our company, we have standards and strict guidelines that we follow. I'm very engaged with all the agents that work in my office, so I want to see all of them do really well. In fact, I tell my agents that they should all focus on outperforming what I do, because
That's
do,
cool.
because we try and eliminate everything that they have to worry about. They don't have to go chase, what's the next fad in real estate? Should I do Tom Ferry? Should I do Mike Ferry? Should I do Brian Buffini? Should I be paying for these leads, paying for this, doing this? We eliminate all that. I've gone through that process. So I eliminate that for them so they could just focus on selling.
Right.
And then we have all the materials to back it up.
Now, do you have certain guidelines, certain standard that it has to be met, and certain expectation in terms of hours they need to put in, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously as independent contractors, we got to be careful on what, telling agents what they can and can't do.
Right.
But my expectation is you show up, you're excited about the business, you want to be in the business, you're not just there for a paycheck or a commission check. You're enthusiastic. Most of my agents are in the office 6 days a week, some of them 7 days a week. They're fully committed to the business. They're passionate about it.
Right.
So that's an expectation, and they have to be closing transactions.
Yes.
I know that we have a system that is going to cause them to be successful if they're committed.
If they're committed, and if they don't close a certain amount of transaction, then it wouldn't fit the company, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yes. Good. You're constantly, consistently perform at a high level, regardless of what market or what year we're in. Let's talk about that. How you perform in terms of traditional real estate, REOs, short sales, luxury.
Sure. I think that just comes down to being versatile. Versatility is the most important thing in our business. For me, I work all aspects of the market. So on any given day, I might be in the Northeast listing a $80,000 condo, or I may be, in the Ridges or Southern Highlands Golf Club, listing a property, north of $1 million.
So
My motto
basically, you
is-
work. Anybody comes up to you and said, "I want to list my house." You take them on.
Yes, and I treat them all the same, and I think that's what's extremely important. In order to be, you have to be versatile.
Right.
I'm comfortable in all of these situations. I'm happy to work with this client or that client, and I think the more clients you work with, the more versatile you get.
Right.
You get better with working with different personalities. You get better at negotiating. So when markets do change, you can change with it. So for instance, when we went from traditional to REO, I took the same system that I was using for traditional real estate with, calling, and I was using the Mike Ferry system, and I went after banks. And then we worked with, 30 different banks, asset management companies.
Nice.
And then when that shifted, I went right back to traditional real estate. So I like to, and I teach the same thing to my agents, is be versatile in all these price ranges. Get educated on all of them.
That's awesome. That's all. Real estate is obviously not an easy field to get into, and I'd like to know I just want to hear what you have to say. Why do people quit so soon before they give themselves a chance to succeed in this business?
I think the biggest thing right now is we have so many potential agents getting licensed.
Okay.
And I think their expectations of the business are a lot different. We have a lot of TV shows that glamorize what we do, and some of it's true and some of it's not so true.
Right.
And I think that when they get into the business and they, get in the field and they start, trying to get clients, they don't realize how tough it is. And it is a tough business, especially in the beginning, and it takes time. And I always tell people, you have to kind of pay your dues,
Right.
You're not going to be an overnight sensation, I wish I was my first year in the business, and I wasn't, it took time, I don't have the clientele, and we see people coming from, different industries. I see this a lot, maybe they work in the restaurant industry and they
Right.
know everybody in the restaurant industry. Then they think because, they know everybody and they get their real estate license that they're going to have that instant credibility. And unfortunately, people want to, they want to watch, they want to see what you're doing. They want to
Right.
see what type of, credibility you're going to have in the market. And it's a big asset. They want to make sure if they list their house, they're listing with someone that knows what they're doing. So I think for agents is, when you're new in the business is, one, make sure you align yourself with the right person, the right company, someone that fits, where you want to go, where you want to be. And then, be patient with the process, have blind faith in the process.
And learn scripts and
Yes.
do all the works. Yeah. I'm going to throw a scenario to you. Let's say I asked you to quit your job today, which is impossible things to do. That's not going to happen, but it's just a scenario.
Okay.
And I want to pay you $1 million to train this agent to perform at the highest level. Just remember, this agent's brand new.
Okay.
Knows nothing about the business, right? And I want you to help this agent to perform and make over $200,000 a year. What I want to ask you is, what should this person be focusing daily? What this person should be doing weekly, monthly, in their.
Okay.
No,
I think the first thing is going to be schedule. You have to have a schedule. A lot of people get in the real estate business because they don't want a schedule. You need some sort of schedule, especially when you're new in the business. You have to have a morning routine, and your day needs to start early. You can't wake up at 11 or 10 o'clock or even 9 o'clock and then start your day.
What time are you talking about?
I mean, 5, 6 a.m., be in the office by 7, 7:30. Start getting familiar with scripts. If you don't know anything about real estate, what's so great about scripts is it teaches you stuff to say. So, you don't want to be a robot, but you want to know what to ask people. If you know nothing about real estate, it's a great starting point. So get familiar with scripts. Start previewing property. I think that's a big thing too. Start getting familiar with areas, because that will, not only when you go on an appointment, you want to know what you're talking about, but when you're on the phone with people, you want to be educated on areas. You know, if they mention, you know, where their house is, you want to know what they're talking about.
Right.
And I think what happens a lot too with you know, agents, we go on listing appointments, or we go meet with a buyer, and the seller or the buyer knows more than we do.
Right.
And you don't want to get to that point. You want to know more than the client does about the area.
So morning routine, real estate routine would be know your script, study your script, and then what do we do next?
First thing you need to do is get on the phones. You need to be having conversations with people. So, I mean, you can
Who do you
call
call?
people, text
Who do you
people.
call?
I built my business on expired, withdrawn, for sale by owner. It's a great way to get business. These are people that want to sell their house.
Okay.
You know, they have it out there. They're trying to sell it on their own, or they've tried once before and they failed. So that's a great way to get
And
business.
how many numbers or how many appointments should we get?
That's all up to you on what your standard's going to be. But as a new agent, I would focus on going on 3 appointments a week.
Three a week.
3 quality appointments a week. And as a new agent, your expectation is maybe you're going to get 1 out of 3. You know, you can't expect to get all 3. You have to be in the game first before you can win the game, right?
Right.
So as long as you're getting appointments and going on appointments, you're going in the right direction.
So let's work with numbers. 3 a week, at least 1 listing a week.
Mm-hmm.
4 listings per month. Multiply by 12 is
48 transactions, and if you sold 38 of them, and that's if you took no buyer calls and had no other transactions off of it, which we know, if you take a listing, you probably should be getting at least 1 or 2 more sales off of that listing. But even if you just did the listings, you're looking at 40 transactions, and if your average commission's anywhere from 4 to 5,000, you're looking at 200,000.
There you go. Did you talk about open houses? Should they do open houses?
Absolutely. If that's your thing, it was never my personal thing, but I do understand some people are more comfortable with an open house than they are on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to be good at open houses, then do them consistently. You know, you don't want to do 1 open house a month. It's not going to be effective.
Right.
You know, if I was great at open houses and that was my thing, I'd probably do 3 to 5 a week.
Good. What 3 common mistakes an agents always do that you see often?
Number 1, not showing up. You know, you have to show up. If you have no business, nothing at all, just show up. At least be there. Be around other people that are doing business. And that's kind of like with our brokerage, you know, if you looked at, like, say, In-N-Out and McDonald's, right?
Right.
So if you look at the McDonald's employee versus the In-N-Out employee, their mentality is
different.
totally different. I don't know if one makes more money than the other, but their mentality is different. It's that culture. So if you took, say, an In-N-Out employee and dropped him in the McDonald's environment, would they still act like an In-N-Out employee, or would they start acting like a McDonald's employee?
Right.
So I think that's the same thing, is put yourself in an environment, you know, even if it's with agents out of state,
Right.
and you have people to talk to and accountability partners, you know, or if it's in your office, you know, be around the people that you want to be.
Right. What's number 2 mistakes that you always say? Did you mention that people are always attached to the transaction? What do you mean by that?
Absolutely. So, yeah, they're attached to the outcome. They get very emotional. I see that a lot. I don't know why. Sometimes maybe it's justifying a commission or just getting a little bit too emotional with the transaction. And I think we all need to remember, we all have a common goal. We want to sell the property. We want to help the buyer. We want to help the seller. And there's no need to tie the emotions in. Once you tie the emotions in, the transaction's going to go downhill quick.
Right. I think the 3rd mistake that most people always do is not knowing the material,
Yes.
and they jump the gun when the client calls and then rush into, to learn. This is not when you learn. This
Yes.
is when you should know already.
Yeah.
So always be prepared.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't
That's-
want to be in panic mode. You get a call from a client and
That's-
say, hey,
That's the common mistake. Unprepared,
Yeah.
right? Coming listing, not being prepared, having a buyer come in without doing any buyer consultation, not being prepared. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more with that. And I found myself once in a while that I've done that over the years, where
Right.
I show up to a listing appointment and the seller's educating me on everything that's going on, or I bring up a sale and they say, well, you know that was a short sale, right? And then you don't even know. So,
Right.
take the time, do the homework up front. So when it comes time to When you get that chance to go list a property, you know everything about that area.
Right. I want you to share us your final thought.
I think we have to remember, our industry is, we all have amazing careers. It's a great business. There's so much opportunity out there. There's business for all of us. There's so many transactions out there. I think we all just need to, appreciate each other a little bit more. And that goes outside our industry. It goes for lenders, home inspectors, title companies. We need to treat each other with the utmost respect.
I agree.
It makes deals so much easier. If you and I do a transaction together, we know it's going to go nice and smooth.
Right.
There may be hiccups in a transaction, but we're going to be able to get through it. It's going to be a smooth transaction. And that's how every transaction should be.
I agree.